Hi, Happy New Year. My name is Chris. This is the time of year where many of us make resolutions, and sometimes we tend to overpromise, and then we beat ourselves up because we underdeliver. If we think about the word yoga, though, it means union, the union of breath and movement. Perhaps if we just commit to moving and breathing, that will serve us all year long and will be something we can be proud of and put in our back pocket as an accomplishment that we have taken on. So today we'll do a full hour-long vinyasa flow. This flow is intended really for people with some experience with yoga. If you're new to yoga, I'll link some of my other videos down below that are for beginners that can help you get started. All right, guys, let's get ready and move. Come to your mat. Find child's pose, toes to touch, knees go nice and wide. Hips sink back over your heels. Forehead connects with the earth. Palms outstretched in front of you. We're going to look for our heart to melt. We're going to find connection between our forehead and the mat. Adjust as necessary. Maybe you're better off with your knees closer together or further apart. Or maybe it feels better to lift up a little bit, those hips off your heels. You decide, make this your own. And then once you've found comfort, find breath. Breathing all the way in. Open your mouth, let it go. And again, fill up. And empty. As you breathe in, think about all the things that serve you and fill up with those things. And then as you exhale, let the rest go. A few more breaths here. Keep your legs as they are. Start by stacking your left hand on top of your right. If that feels like a really good stretch through your left side body, stay as you are. If you'd like more, you can walk your hands off the mat to the right side, stretching again through your left side body. One more breath on this side. And then make your way back to center. And again, the first option is to stack your right hand on top of your left. That can be a nice, juicy stretch. If there's more available to you or more that you need, move your hands further over to the left, feeling that stretch through your right side body. And gently return to center. You'll draw your hands close to your body so that you can push yourself up and find your way onto all fours. We'll stack our joints. Hips are over knees, shoulders are over elbows or over wrists. And we'll start by shifting our weight from side to side and forward and back. Or if it feels good to you, you can draw big circles. Make sure if you started clockwise that you switch and go the opposite direction. And then we'll point our fingers off our mat, gently spill your weight from side to side. Your hands are wide, getting into those wrists. And if that feels good in your wrists and you feel like you're warming them up and stretching them out, stay exactly as you are. If not, join me in walking your fingers back to point towards your knees, finding anywhere in between hands pointing off the mat and or hands pointing towards your knees. You pick. And again, we're just moving. We're just getting that gentle stretch going. Our wrists will work really hard for us today, so it will be really important to get them warmed up. And then we'll flip our palms over. You have the option to keep your knees pointing towards you, or your fingers pointing toward your knees, or you can face them away, you decide. And just gentle movement here again, stretching out our wrists. And from here, we'll move directly into down dog by extending our hands out in front of us. Grip the mat with all four fingers and the sides of your thumb. Find plank pose. Where your plank pose is, where your hands are beneath your shoulders and your heels are high over your feet, that is what assists you in finding your alignment for downward facing dog. Push the mat away. Feet are hip width apart. Remember, your limbs are never in concrete, so adjust as feels good. We prioritize the length in our spine here, and then we can allow our heels to sink towards the earth if that feels good, and we breathe. If you'd like to walk out your dog, opposite heels and heel falls to the earth, opposite knee bends, and then switch. And then coming back to neutral, maybe lift your heels up high to stretch out the bottoms of your feet. Allow them to sink. And again, high up on your toes as you inhale. Exhale, they sink. Your next inhale brings your gaze to your thumb. Your core engages to make your feet as light as possible. And small steps bring you all the way up to meet your hands in a forward fold. We are hinging from our hip creases instead of kind of hanging through our back. So that may mean a lot of bend in your knee. Once you've found your way to that hinge, hands sweep up, grab opposite elbows, and we hang in ragdoll. If it feels good, sway from side to side. If you've got tension in your neck and shoulders, you can shake your head yes, shake your head no, shake your head yes again. Find a few more breaths here. Last one. Exhale allows you to reach your hands down towards the earth. Inhale brings you all the way up to standing, and hands travel up and overhead. We find extended mountain. Shoulders down and back. Core engaged. Legs zipped up. Skin to muscle to bone. Here we breathe. Fill up. And empty. And again. One more just like this. And then your next inhale, heart can lift if you'd like. Exhale, release down to the forward fold. Find your half lift. Remember, shoulders engaged, flat back, gaze is down and long. Exhale, release down to your forward fold. Let's rise again. Inhale, extended mountain. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Hands connect with the earth. Step back to plank, knees come down. Peer over the top of your mat, keep your elbows tight to your ribs, slowly lower all the way down. Engage your toenails into the earth, inhale up, cobra. And exhale, release down to your mat. Inhale, back up, cobra. Gaze over your right shoulder. Allow your gaze to travel back through center. Gaze over your left shoulder. Come back to center. Pause here. See if you can release your glutes a little bit. And that may mean you need to lower a little bit. You decide. And then gently release all the way down to your mat. Tuck your toes. Plank pose. Downward facing dog. Find breath. And empty. And again. Gaze to your thumbs. Step, hop, or walk. You decide. To the top of your mat. Forward fold. Half lift. Soften, forward fold. Big inhale, hands travel overhead. Rise, extended mountain. Exhale, fold. We'll take sun A with our breath. Half lift. Hands to the earth. Step back to plank. Chaturanga. Lower down. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale. Down dog. Breath in, breath out. Gaze to your thumbs. Big step, tiny steps, or hop. Top of your mat. Half lift. Soften, fold. Inhale, rise. Exhale, fold. Inhale, find your half lift. Hands connect with the earth. Step back to plank. Chaturanga. Up dog or cobra. Down dog. Keep moving. Gaze to your thumbs, top of your mat. Half lift. Fold. Rise. Fold. Half lift. Chaturanga, hands to mat, plank, lower down. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, down dog. One more sun A. Keep moving, top of your mat. Half lift, fold, rise, fold. Half lift, hands to earth, step back to plank. Lower down. Up dog. Down dog. Few breaths here. Fill up and empty. Fill up and empty. Full breath in. Open your mouth, sigh it out. We get ready to take on sun B. Gaze to your thumbs, step, hop, or walk, top of your mat. Half lift, fold. While you're down there, toes to touch, space between your heels, sit down in a pretend chair behind you. Arms sweep up, hips sink low. Couple of things, engage through your core, pull your shoulders down and back, breathe in and sink. Now stay here, no bobbing, right? We want to stay as we are. Heart lifts, hips sink. One more, and then release gently to the forward fold. We'll find the half lift. Hands connect with the earth, plank. Lower down. Up dog or cobra. Down dog. Getting ready for warrior one flow, your right foot, pick it up off the earth, draw your right knee tight into your chest, and set your right foot down by your right thumb. Left foot comes to a 45-degree angle. Inhale up. Lots of ways to modify that. So the first is that you can come to the top of your mat and step back. And the other is, instead of taking warrior one, you can take high crescent lunge, where your heel of your left foot is high over your toe. You decide. Stack your hips underneath your shoulders. Reach towards the ceiling. Sink into that front knee. Seal down the back edge of your left foot if you're in warrior one. If you're in high crescent lunge, lift that heel high. One more breath here. Heart lifts. Hands connect with the earth. Step back to plank. Lower down. Up dog. Down dog. Find breath. And empty. Breathe in. And let it go. Last one. We move again. Left side steps. Left foot by your left thumb. Right foot comes down at that 45-degree angle. Inhale up. Take whichever of those options might feel good for you. And then when you're ready, breathe in and sink. And again, we square up, shoulders over hips. Seal down the back edge of that right foot. Sink into that left knee. One more. Heart lifts. Hands connect with the earth. Step back to plank. Lower down. Up dog. Down dog. Find breath. And let it go. And again. We'll do the whole thing with our breath. Gaze to your thumbs, top of your mat. Half lift, shoulders engage. Soften to the forward fold. One breath per movement. Inhale to chair. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plank to chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, down dog. Still moving, right foot steps. Inhale up. Exhale, hands to the earth, step back to plank, chaturanga. Up dog or cobra. Down dog. Left side goes warrior one flow. Inhale up. Exhale down. Chaturanga. Up dog or cobra. Down dog. Few breaths here. One more sun B all the way through. Gaze to your thumbs, top of your mat. Half lift, fold, chair, fold, half lift, take a flow. Remember, at any time you can skip the chaturanga and go directly back to downward facing dog. Option is yours. Breath in and out. Warrior One flow, right side, inhale on the way up. Exhale on the way down. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, down dog. Left side goes, big step. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breath in, breath out. Breathe here. Bring your toes to touch the back of your mat. Lift your right foot up. Turn it to the right side of your space to stack your right hip on top of your left. Bend your right knee. Allow your heel to come to your glute. Now you'll have a tendency for your left shoulder to drop. Pull your shoulders back into alignment. Choose to stay here. If you want to take flip dog, that is your choice. Go ahead. Two more breaths. And when you're complete, find your way back over to downward facing dog. Shift forward to plank. Move your right hand to the center of your mat. Stack your right shoulder over your wrist. Twist open to the left. You can lift your top leg. You can leave both legs extended for full side plank. You can bring one knee down and leave your foot down. All sorts of options. Two more breaths here. And then release your left hand back down to the earth. Step back to plank. Take a flow or lift your hips. Downward facing dog. Breathe in. And breathe out. Fill up and empty. Bring your toes to touch again at the back of your mat. This time, left side gets to go. Lift that leg up. Point your toes to the left side of your space. Bend your knee. Square your shoulders to the earth. Stay here with me in three-legged dog, or flip your dog if you'd like. One more breath. Then find your way back over to downward facing dog. Shift forward to plank. Left side center your mat. Bring that right hand up. Again, option to drop that bottom knee or lift that top leg or take whatever you need here. Two more breaths. Right hand returns back down to your mat. Find plank pose, and from there, take a flow or lift your hips. Downward facing dog. And here we breathe. Fill up and empty. Fill up and empty. One more breath. Right foot steps, high crescent lunge. Make sure you're on railroad tracks and not a tightrope. Inhale your way up. Hands travel up and overhead. Sink into that front knee and get high on that left set of toes with your heel over your left toes. Then pretend my hand is resting gently in the back of your left knee and push me away. Square up. Hands come out to a T. Rotate the entirety of your torso to the right side of your space. And then as you're ready, hands come into heart center and gently hook that left elbow outside that right knee. Now, how do we make this pose our own? Well, we have the option always to drop that left knee to the earth. In combination, we can drop our left hand to the mat or to a block. Or we can leave our hands outside our right knee and split our palms. Either way, lengthen from the edge, the heel of your left foot through the crown of your head and twist open. 2 more just like that. Next inhale brings you back up to standing, high crescent lunge. And then we'll shift to warrior 2. So in warrior 2, we are on a tightrope here. Front toes facing forward, back foot parallel with the edge of your mat. Sink into that front knee, reach both arms to the front and back of your mat. Gaze over your front fingertips. Reverse your warrior, reach, big sweep up and back. And then come forward to side angle. Looking to try not to dump that right elbow onto that right knee. It can just rest there gently, or you can use a block. Left arm extends. We're thinking about making a straight line from our right ankle all the way up through our left wrist. Breathe in length and twist open. Breathe in length and twist open. One more. Inhale back up to standing. Reverse your warrior, still low on that front knee. And then hands cartwheel down to the mat. Step back to plank pose, take a flow, or lift your hips, down dog. And again, we find breath. One more quality breath here. And then next inhale, let your left foot step. High crescent lunge. Square to the front of your mat. And again, low in that knee. Engage through that right leg. Hands come down to a T. Twist your entire torso to the left side of your space. Pull that left hip in while you're at it. And allow your hands to find heart center. And then hinge, hooking that right elbow outside that left knee. Again, option to bring that right knee down. Option to bring that right hand down to the mat or a block. Or option to stay elevated and split your palms outside your left knee. Breathe in length. Twist open. 2 more. Next inhale brings you back up to crescent lunge. And then from there we shift to warrior 2. Sink into that front knee. Engage through the edge of that left foot, or that right foot, Reach. Gaze over your front fingertips. Reverse your warrior. Come forward to side angle. So again, we're trying not to just camp here. We want to lift through our torso. So having a block here can help. And we're looking again to create that straight line from your ankle all the way up through your right wrist. Breathe in length. Twist open. Breathe in length. Twist open. Let's take 2 more. Next inhale brings you back up to standing. Reverse your warrior. Hands cartwheel down to the earth. Take a flow or step back to down dog. Find breath. Two more. Fill up and empty. If you need to release some heat, fill up. Open your mouth, sigh it out. Ha. Gaze to your thumbs, top of your mat. Half lift. Fold. We'll take chair. So this time you can bring your toes to touch like we did before, or your feet can be parallel and hip width apart. If you have access to a block, placing it between your thighs can really assist as well. Heart lifts and hips sink. Everything's engaged. We're going to work to keep our knees level. So bring your hands to heart center. Start by taking your left hand, bringing it outside your right knee and twisting open. Maybe coming to your elbow and hands to heart center. 2 more breaths. And when you're complete, release to the forward fold. Make the peace sign with both hands. Grip onto your big toes. Drop your head heavy to the earth. Soften your knees as much as feels good for you. Shake your head, yes. Shake your head, no. Shake your head, yes, again. Breathe all the way in. Soften and empty. 1 more. Hands release gently from your toes. They're going to support you as you walk your feet as wide as your mat. So your heels will be on your mat. Your toes will come off and will sink. Now again, if you have a block, it can be powerful to put it underneath you. It allows you to sit up a little taller, more easily. Or if you don't have a block, no big deal. If your heels are lifting, move your feet further apart. And then as much as possible, use those elbows to help open your knees a little wider and soften any of those muscles that are clenching and holding you in space. And see what's available to you to let go. Two more breaths. Gently release your hands down to the earth. Lift your hips up towards the ceiling. Heel toe your feet back into hip width apart. Half lift. Soften through the forward fold. Inhale, rise. Hands meet. Come down to find heart center as you sink yet again into chair. And again, option to use that block if that was helpful to you between your knees. Heart's lifted. Core is engaged. Twist to the left. We'll find 3 breaths here. Lengthen on the inhale. Twist open on the exhale. Now those knees are going to try to go cattywampus, especially that right knee will want to fall in. Go ahead and try to keep them level. 1 more breath. And again, we release to the forward fold. You can do the same thing we did last time with peace fingers grabbing onto big toes, or deepen the pose by lifting up your feet, point your fingers behind you, palms up, and insert your palms underneath your feet. Breathe in length and soften. Breathe in length and soften. 2 more. Gently release your hands from your feet. Once again, walk your feet as wide as your mat. Let your hips sink. Malasana. If crow's in your practice and you want to play with that, please go ahead and do so. Now would be a good time. Lift through your heart. Soften through your hips. See what's accessible to you. 2 more breaths. And when you're complete, once again, hands connect down to the earth to support you. Gently lift your hips up towards the ceiling. Walk your feet back into center. Half lift, shoulders engage, flat back. Soften, forward fold. Inhale, rise. Hands travel up and overhead, and this time as they meet and find heart center, your eyes shut down or your gaze moves to follow your fingertips. And here we pause. Find anything you need that you may have lost along the way, maybe your breath, your focus, a reminder of what brought you to your mat today. And then when you're ready, eyes softly blink open. Release your hands down by your side, palms are forward. Roll your shoulders up, down, and back. And then from the very tips of your toes all the way through your crown of your head, engage. Zip everything up. We use the phrase skin to muscle to bone. So everything's engaged. You should feel tall here. If somebody came by and tried to push you, they would find resistance. And then from here, gently let your weight slide over into your left foot so that your right heel can pop. Next step would be to take right toes off the earth. If that feels solid, then bring your knee to hip height. If you think there's more available to you, draw your knee into your chest. And if you're like me and you just wobble, no big deal, just come back in. Maybe open your right knee out to the side, your left arm out, gaze over your left thumb. Find 2 more breaths to play. And then when you're complete, with as much control as is available to you, release and then let it go. For good, for bad, for ugly, whatever it looked like, it doesn't matter. Just release it, because the beauty of yoga is we get to begin again. So reset, zip up, find that level of engagement, pop your left heel as your weight transfers into your right foot. Maybe draw those left toes off the earth. Maybe hip height, maybe into your chest, and maybe opening out to the side. This time gaze to the right. Two more breaths. And then when you're complete, with as much control as is available to you, release. Shake and let it go. We'll move into our standing balance series. I'm going to come back to the top of the mat. Draw your right knee to your chest. Your palms are facing forward out by your side, and then send your leg out behind you. Actively point those toes down. Lift through your heart. This is airplane. And then slowly release your hands to reach out in front of you, warrior 3. And then allow your hands to find heart center and release down to the mat. Option 1 is to lift your right leg as high as you're able to. That's standing splits. Option 2 is to place your left hand on the mat or on a block directly beneath your left shoulder, and then draw your right hand up and open to the right side of your space, ultimately gazing up to your right thumb. You decide which of those poses works best for you today. We'll find 2 more breaths to play with whatever you've chosen. And then right hand meets the mat, left foot meets the mat, forward fold. Inhale, find your half lift, flat back, engage. Soften down through the forward fold. Inhale, rise, hands travel overhead. Meet, come through heart center, and then release down by your side. And one more time, we get set up. Palms are forward, shoulders up, down, and back. Engaged. Left knee into your chest. Let it extend out behind you. This is a back bend, so lift through your heart, pull your shoulder blades together, actively turn those left toes down. Wobbling is growing, so don't worry about it. Release your hands out in front of you, warrior 3. Allow your hands to come through heart center, and then release down to the earth for standing splits, or half moon on this side would mean that your right hand would come directly beneath your right shoulder, twisting open to the left side of your space. You decide. Two more breaths to play with whatever you've chosen. And then when you're complete, gently release your left foot and your left hand down to the earth, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, soften, forward fold. Inhale, rise, hands travel up and overhead. Meet. Exhale down to heart center. One more time, we shut down our eyes and find breath. And this time we find kindness for ourselves. We recognize ourselves for showing up, spending this time on our mat, finding breath, finding movement. And then when we're ready, eyes blink open, and once again, hands release down by your side, palms forward, reconnect. We'll take tree on the right. We start by popping our knee and opening it. Only one rule in tree. Your right foot's going to go somewhere on your left leg that is not your knee joint. You decide where. Kickstand, ankle, calf, maybe inner thigh. No knee joint. Grow your branches, or find hands to heart center, or clasp your hands behind you to take a bind. You get to pick. We'll find 2 more breaths. And when you're complete, release and shake it off. And then reset. And we'll go on the left side. Left heel pops. Open that foot out to the side. Anywhere but that knee joint. And again, option to grow branches, hands to heart center, or take that bind behind you. Let's find 2 more breaths. And when you're complete, gently release, shake it off, find celebration. Inhale, hands up and overhead from the top of your mat. Exhale, release down to the forward fold. Inhale, find your half lift. Hands connect with the earth, step back to plank, take a flow, or lift your hips to down dog. You get to decide. Once you've found your way to down dog, breathe. One more. Right foot steps for triangle. So that means we're going to start with warrior 1 legs, shift to warrior 2 legs, and come up. Pro tip, if you use a block, have it ready. Straighten that front right leg, send your left hip back, reach, and then draw your right hand down, left hand up. We're finding length from the outside of our left foot through the crown of our head, and then we twist open. Twist open does not mean dropping your hand behind you either. So think about using the entirety of your core and your torso to twist open. Breathe in length, twist open. 2 more. Next inhale brings you back up to standing, and then turn both sets of toes to face the left edge of your mat. If you're close to a wall, you may need to back up a little bit like I did. Slightly pigeon-toed. Hands can catch your hips, or they can clasp behind you. Lift through your heart, flat back. Gently release down to a wide-legged forward fold. If your hands are clasped behind you and you'd like to lift them up and let them fall towards the left side of your space, that is an option that's available to you. And then when you're ready, hands are going to continue to come down to the mat and let them come right beneath your shoulders. Breathe in length, come up to a half lift like we do when we're in forward fold, and then once again soften down to the forward fold. We'll hold the fold here for a minute. If it feels good to bend your legs and straighten them, go ahead and do so. And then we'll come back up slightly so that our arms are straight. Plant your right hand directly beneath your nose. Keep your hips level. Left hand comes up. We twist open to the left. To deepen, you can bring your right hand across and let it clasp anywhere on the outside of your left leg between your ankle or your knee. And then gently release back down to center. Plant your left hand directly beneath your nose. Twist open to the right. Keep your hips level. And then again, option to deepen by releasing your left hand to grab on anywhere outside your right leg between your ankle or your knee. Gently release back down to center. Hands are beneath your shoulders. Soften your knees. Press down through your big toe mound as you come up to a flat back. Release your hands to your hips. Continue with a flat back. Inhale, back up to standing. Turn your right toes to the front of your mat. Sink down to warrior 2. Hands cartwheel down to the earth. Step back to plank pose. Take a flow or lift your hips. Downward facing dog. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Let's take triangle on the left side. Left foot steps, finding its way to warrior two. Maybe that block in your left hand if that serves you. Straighten that front leg. Send your right hip back. Reach, 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 reach. And tilt. Breathe in length. Twist open. Length. Twist open. 2 more. Inhale back up to standing. Sink into that front knee. Cartwheel your hands down to the earth. Step back to plank pose. Take a flow or lift your hips. Downward facing dog. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Shift forward to plank. Core is engaged. No sagging, no piking. If that's challenging, then there's a lot of us that will just bring our knees to the earth to provide ourselves a little bit more support so we can keep our core engaged. We'll stay here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Draw your elbows tight to your ribs as you lower. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rest your right cheek on your mat. Breathe all the way in. And breathe all the way out. Breathe all the way in. And empty completely. 1 more breath here. Bring your forehead to the center of your mat. Extend your hands out behind you, palms down. Gaze is long and in front of you. Lift your heart, lift your thighs. You can clasp your hands behind you if you'd like. This is locust pose. Inhale, lift. 1 more. And then gently release down. And this time, left cheek rests. And we find breath and softness. Two more quality breaths here. Return your forehead to the center of your mat. Take locust again, or you can reach back and grab your ankles and lift up for floor bow. Inhale, lift. Inhale, lift. 1 more. Release back down to your mat. Gently push back. Child's pose. Fine breath. Think back to the first child's pose of this practice where we started. Notice any differences in your body, places where you've created space or softness. And then gently walk your hands back towards your knees. Come up to seated, and then come off to one side or the other. And bring your feet to the earth and your knees into your chest. Grab onto the back of your knees to support yourself. Gently release all the way down to your mat. Spine is long. Back of your head connected with the earth. Walk your heels close to your glutes. Push down. Lift up. We're using our quadriceps to lift. Trying to take our glutes out of the equation. So sometimes I give them a little poke. Make sure they're not too engaged. Find 2 more breaths. And then slowly lower your entirety of your spine back down onto the earth. Walk your feet as wide as your mat, keeping your knees bent, and allow your knees to fall in for fallen bridge. One more breath here. When you're complete, walk your feet back into hip width center. Push down, lift up. And maybe you have space to clasp your hands underneath you or draw your shoulders underneath your heart space. Powerful chest opening. Push down, lift. Last one. And then gently release all the way down to the earth. We'll take fallen bridge again. Walk your feet wide. Allow your knees to fall in. And then the last one's all about listening to your own body. Walk your feet back into center. Push down to lift up. You will find what you need here. And then as soon as you're ready, and not 1 second before, you'll find your way back down to the earth. And this time, feet will come soul to soul, and knees will fall open. Supta Baddha Konasana. Two more breaths to find completion or to join me here in Supta Baddha Konasana. And then when you're ready, right hand to your heart, left hand to your abdomen, and we breathe. Fill the entirety of your chest and your abdomen, fill with air, and empty completely. One more. Then gently draw your knees back up into center. Pick your feet up off the earth, bringing your knees into your chest. And then extend your legs. Flex through your feet as if you're standing on the ceiling. Hands can come behind your ears to support your head, or you can release your hands to reach for your ankles, and we will crunch up. Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Gently release. Draw your knees into your chest. Draw little circles with your knees clockwise. And then switch and go clockwise. And then draw your knees back into center. Keep them center and rock from side to side. We'll move into boat pose by grabbing onto the backs of your knees and take big rocks. Give yourself lots of movement. And then when you're ready, we'll come up to boat. And boat, our heart is lifted. We can grab on behind our knees. We can support ourselves with our toes. We can support ourselves with our hands, or we can release. As long as your chest stays lifted, whatever you choose is right for you. And then we'll take alternating toe taps. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Heart lifts. Come halfway down if you'd like to canoe. Inhale, back up to boat. Halfway down to canoe. Last one, back up to boat. And then slowly lower all the way down to the earth. Breathe in. And breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. If you have a hip opener that your body's asking for that you know you'd like to take, now's your time to do so. If not, join me in crossing your right ankle over your left knee, flexing actively through your right foot and drawing your right knee away from your body. And if that's a good stretch, stay as you are. If not, lift your left foot up off the earth, draw your left knee in towards your chest, keeping that right knee tracking away. And then option to grab on behind your left thigh or maybe the front of your left shin. Or if you'd like to straighten your leg on the left side for hamstring stretch, you may do that as well. Two more breaths. And then gently uncross that right elbow, or excuse me, that right ankle, from your left knee. Feet come back down to the earth if they were lifted. Then cross your left ankle over your right knee. Actively flex your left foot, draw your left knee away from you. That's a good stretch. Stay there. If you would like more, pick up your right foot off the earth, grab behind your right thigh or the front of your right shin, you decide. Option to straighten that right leg as well. Two more breaths. Gently release your knees into your chest. And then find your way up to seated. Let your legs extend out in front of you. We'll take staff pose. Draw your shoulders up, down, and back. Let your hands rest by your hips. Draw your toes towards your navel. And then from here, we're going to bend our right leg, place our right foot on the inside of our left thigh. You can walk your tailbone out behind you to give yourself a little more space. Inhale, hands up and overhead. Rotate your heart over your left thigh, and then gently hinge forward. We're not looking for struggle here. We're not looking for pain. We're looking for the place where we feel growth and challenge, and that's where we stop and settle. Maybe on every inhale, reignite your back, your core by straightening through your spine, and then seeing if there's more available to you as you soften. Two more breaths here. Next inhale allows you to come back up to seated. Straighten your right leg out onto your mat. Give your legs a shake if you'd like. And then it's time to bend your left leg. Bring your left foot somewhere inside your right leg, close to your thigh. Inhale, hands up and overhead. Heart rotates over your right side and hinge. Giving up struggle, giving up any talk about how far you bend that is not useful, and just allowing yourself to soften. One more quality breath here. Gently inhale back up to seated. Let's extend both legs onto the mat one more time. Give them a shake or a wave. Again, walk your tailbone out behind you to give yourself a little more space. Inhale, hands up and overhead. Hinge. Drop your hands where you find that challenge. Drop your head and embrace ease. Two more breaths. Next inhale brings you up to seated. We're going to bring our hands out in front of us and allow ourselves to have a C-shaped spine to gently bring us down onto our back. Extend your legs up towards the ceiling. For legs up a wall, if you have a block and you'd like to place it underneath your sacrum, you can take that. Or you can take shoulder stand. You decide. If you've chosen shoulder stand and you'd like to take plow, you allow your toes to reach down towards the earth behind you. They don't have to touch. And then from there, option to bend your knees on either side of your head for ear pinning pose. Find two more breaths for whatever you need in this inversion. And then gently leave the mat and allow your all wide by your ribs. Grab onto the back of your knees. Your ankles are the insides of your feet. Pull your tailbone long onto the mat and gently rock from side to side. Draw your knees into your chest. Send your left leg long onto your mat. Arms come out to a T, and allow your right leg to fall across your body to the left, trying to keep your right shoulder glued to the earth. And then inhale back through center, both knees back into your chest. Right leg sends long onto your mat. Left leg falls across your body to the right. Left shoulder stays glued to the earth. And then one last time back into center. Draw your knees into your chest. Curl up into the tiniest possible ball that you can. Breathe all the way in. Exhale, release down to your mat for our most important pose, Shavasana. Let your feet go wide on your mat and fall open. Palms can also go wide and they're face up to receive. Open and close your jaw. Take the pressure off of your back teeth. Eyes shut down. And just be. Bring your awareness back onto your mat. Allow small movement to enter by wiggling your fingers and wiggling your toes. Honoring the stillness you've created in your body, slowly extend your hands out behind you and legs out in front of you. Rotate wrists and ankles. And then gently draw your knees into your chest. Roll onto your right side. Let your right bicep cradle your head. And then using the strength in your arms and keeping your eyes shut down, slowly move to a seated position. Inhale, hands overhead. Allow them to meet and exhale down to heart center. It's said that yoga is the journey of the self, through the self, to the self. Thank you so much for showing up today, taking part in this practice, letting me be a small part of your journey. Your thumbs can travel to your forehead and your fingers can spread wide. The light and the love and the joy in me recognizes, honors, and celebrates the light, the love, and the joy in you. We bow and say, Namaste. And then I believe we always clap when we've completed a yoga practice. So keeping in mind that yoga is simply the union of movement and breath, and that we don't need to start a new year with lofty goals and all these things. We just need to commit to ourselves to take on that practice where we can move and breathe and believe in ourselves. Have the best day. Thank you so much for showing up. See you again soon.